seeing all of you here. I love you. You're wonderful people. You're terrific people. I value all of you. I value all the life that I've had with you, working with you, sharing with you. This is really, really terrific. I really, really appreciate it. When I read what you folks have written in your festschrifts, it makes me cry almost, because I'm so honored by what you all said and what you've all done. And I just find it wonderful. I was thinking of funny things, strangely enough, when I heard some of the things that were said. So Monique talked about getting a lab, right? She wanted to get a lab, and she said, I took her to the dean, and the dean gave me a lab. I want to tell you a story about that dean, not our dean, not Dean Gordon, a different dean. We had a dean named Harris when I was chair of the department. And our department was in one building, and then there was a small parking lot, and then there was where the dean's building was. So dean's building, parking lot, where we were. And I'd go out from our building to get my car. And if the dean was there walking out of his building and he'd see me, he'd walk back into his building. So one day I said, why are you going back? He said, I know if you stopped to talk to me, you'd want something and I'd have to give it to you. And that was true, because when I became chair, we had something like 15 faculty members. When I was finished being chair, we had something like 40. And the same thing was true about research assistants and all that. So all that was true. Not that it made me feel better that he'd run away, but that's one story. So now I have a second story that's sort of a similar kind of story. There was a wonderful student named Felipe Corzeni, and I don't know if he still is, but he was at the University of Florida. Was that it?
I think he's still in Florida.
Florida State? You don't know. Someplace in Florida. Okay? And my office was in one place in the hall, and his office was right across the hall from me, so we were like 15 feet away from each other. He had an office, I was in my office, and he'd always come by and ask me a statistics question, and we'd come in and we'd talk, and I'd give him advice, and he was happy. Very happy. And one day he comes in, and by the way, Felipe Corzeni was a Mexican Polish Jew, so it's always good to have him. Anyway, he walked into my office very happy, and he said, I wanted to tell you I finished my dissertation. This is over a period of time, of course. I wasn't his advisor. I said, oh, that's great. He said, and I put you in the acknowledgements. I said, oh, that's terrific, thank you. He says, don't you want to see it? I said, sure. So he left my office, went to his office a few feet away, got the dissertation, came back to my office, opened it to a page, acknowledgements, and he says, and here's what I wrote. And I'm reading what he wrote, and he wrote with this, I'm quoting, Ed Fink was notorious for helping you graduate students. So I said, Felipe, do you know what notorious means? And he'd say, famous? I say, not exactly. He said, well, tell me. I said, no, go back to your office, get a dictionary, read it up, and come back. So he goes to his office, he reads it back, he comes back, and now he's white. And he says, do you want me to take it out? I said, no. And to this day, in his dissertation, that's the acknowledgement. So I thought I'd share that with you, based on what some of these folks have said. Giving you a little bit of background about me, quickly, I did my undergraduate work at Columbia. I did my graduate work at University of Wisconsin. I taught for a couple of years at Notre Dame. I taught for 34 years at the University of Maryland. University of Maryland. I was in Michigan State for 8 years. I was at Temple University for 9 years. So that adds, I think I added them up before. It was like 54 years or something like that. So so retirement might be in order. I don't know. So I know, and some of the things that were said about me, some of them I really am proud of. I'm proud that I'm a fellow in Sigma Xi with National Research Honor Society. I'm president, fellow in the National Academy for Intercultural Research. I'm a member of Lambda Pi Eta, the National Communication Association Honorary Society. I'm Laura H. Carnell Professor, which I very, very much honor. By the way, I was right that Carolyn Kitch is also a Carnell Professor, and of course, she's absolutely very deserving of all this. Those are some of the things that I can mention. I also have a lot of other things. I spent a lot of time trying to prepare for this talk, to no avail, but I spent some time trying to prepare the talk, and I listed all of the scientists and scholars that I thought I'd learned from. But the list turned out to be too long, because I had all these people whose names I honor, who are faculty members that I learned from, or whatever. So I decided I'm not going to go that way. But I wanted to go someplace else, and that's this. You heard from Deb, and by the way, I thank Deb for everything that she's done to help prepare for this for all of us.
That's right.
And Deb did mention the significant achievements of Dean Boardman. It's right over there. And if you look it up on the faculty directory, you'll see all the things that he's done, Pulitzer Prizes and all these other things that are really quite wonderful and amazing. And it's hard work. I've been a chair, I was dean of the part of the graduate school when I was at Maryland, but I was never dean of a major unit like this. So I thought, what could I do to help Dean Boardman? Because he may need some help. So I have something I want to share with him, that I'll give him, that we spent some time selecting out of all the things that would be good things to give him in this time of need. This is called Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. So whenever he has difficulty, this is what he needs to read. And again, I want to end by saying how appreciative I am for all of you, how wonderful all of you have been, and how much I enjoy and have learned from you also. You're great people. It's been a wonderful, wonderful thing to have you as my friend, my colleague, my students, and I really, really want to thank you for all that. I'll end it with that.